Hey guys, how's it going? F8 Alpha here and welcome back to the channel. Today we're back on Mortal Tanks and we're having a look at one of four British bundles that are offered to us in the premium shop. We're having a look at the AC4 Experimental. This is a British medium tier 6 premium, and Wargaming has offered us three bundles with this particular tank in it. So let's go ahead and see what these bundles have to offer. We have the basic bundle at $18.99, and of course you get the AC4 Experimental, you get a garage slot, you get a 100% trained crew, you get a special Aussie camo, and you get a special emblem. You have the loaded bundle, which of course offers the tank, you get a garage slot, you get the enhanced gunline drive, you get improved ventilation, you get a medium caliber gun rammer, you get 1250 gold. You of course get that 100% trained crew, you have special Aussie camo, and you got a special emblem. And lastly, we have the ultimate bundle, which offers the AC4. You get a garage slot, you get improved ventilation, you get an enhanced gunline drive, medium caliber gun rammer, 2,000 gold, 1,500,000 credits, that awesome 100% trained crew, a multiplier of 5 XP for the first 30 wins in the AC4 Experimental. Of course, you get that Aussie camo, and you get the special emblem. Now, I want to see what the AC4 has to offer us. What is it particularly bringing to the table in terms of performance? And for that, I went ahead and set up a comparison here that includes the AC4 Experimental, the Firefly, the Skona T40, and the STRV. So let's go ahead and jump straight into that. Now, in terms of firepower, the DPM of the AC4 is 1,877. The Firefly offers us 1,996. The Skona T40 is 1,995. The STRV is 1,680, but keep in mind that the STRV is an autoloader and does have a 4-round drum on it, making it kind of special in this comparison. And in terms of penetration, the AC4 and the Firefly both have that awesome 17-pounder, and they both offer 171 penetration, where the Skona T40 has 145, and of course the STRV has 148. Now, when it comes to alpha damage, the AC4 and the Firefly are exactly the same at 150. Also, the STRV also has 150 alpha damage, and the Skona T40 has 220, as it does have that short barrel 88. The shell velocity of the Firefly and the AC4 is 884, the Skona T40 is 773, and the STRV is 925. A quick note is that the ammo count on the AC4 is the lowest in this comparison. It can only contain 50 pieces of ammo, or something like the Firefly can contain 77, or the Skona T40 can contain 80. Also, the STRV contains 60, so the AC4 does have the lowest ammo count. Let's go ahead and look at the gun handling of these tanks. The aim time of the AC4 and the Firefly are exactly the same at 2.0 seconds. The Skona T40 and the STRV are both 2.2 seconds, making the Firefly and the AC4 the quickest aiming. As we look at the dispersion of these tanks, the AC4 has a 0.37, which is the worst in this comparison, whereas something like the Firefly has a 0.36, the Skona has a 0.35, and the STRV has a 0.34 accuracy. Now, the elevation on the AC4 is outstanding at 10 degrees of depression, where something like the Firefly, the Skona, and the STRV all have 6, making the AC4 the most flexible and capable over ridges or getting those shots down on your enemies. Now, when we look at mobility, the top speed of the AC4 is 60, which is the fastest in this comparison. The Firefly has a 34, the Skona T40 has 50, and the STRV can travel at 45 kilometers forward. Also, reverse is 20 kilometers reverse for the AC4, for the Skona, and for the STRV, where the Firefly can only do 18 in reverse. So keep that in mind if you're looking at popping those shots off and pulling back into cover. But one thing that we have to keep in mind is that the power to weight ratio is very important, especially when going up hills. And this is where the AC4 struggles. The AC4 has a 11.6 horsepower per ton ratio, which is the lowest and is very, very noticeable on this tank, making it a bit sluggish to go up any hill, where something like the Skona has a 17.5, the Firefly has a 13.8, and the STRV has a 13.2. Let's go ahead and look at the armor and hit points of these tanks. The AC4 has 65 millimeters on the front of the hull, 45 at the sides, and 45 at the rear. The Firefly has 50 on the front of the hull, 38 at the sides, and 38 at the rear. The Skonda T40 has 65 at the front, 40 at the sides, 30 at the rear. The STRV has 55 at the front, 30 at the sides, and 20 at the rear. The turret on the AC4 is 65 at the front, 65 at the sides, and 65 at the rear. The Firefly has 76 at the front, 50 at the sides, and 50 at the rear. The Skonda T40 has 65 at the front, 40 at the sides, and 40 at the rear. And lastly, we have the STRV, which has 40 at the front, 20 at the sides, and 20 at the rear. Now, in terms of hit points, the AC4 and the Firefly are both tied with a good chunk of hit points. They both have 750 hit points. The Skonda T40 has 700, and the STRV as well has 700 hit points. A quick note is that the AC4 only has 360 meters view range on it, where something like the Firefly or the Skonda T40 has 370, and that 10 meters can make a bit of a difference, especially when you're facing tier 8s or something like that. That definitely has a view range advantage on you. You need all the view range you can get. Now when it comes to equipment, I would recommend coated optics, ventilation, and a gun rammer. I feel like the enhanced gunline drive is not needed, as this tank does have a very good aim time on it. A quick note is that this tank does contain 5 crew members, making it a good crew trainer up to tier 7, which is up to the Comet in the UK line. So after that, after you get into the Centurion Mark 1 at tier 8, your crew will be a crew of 4, meaning that you have an additional crew member which is not used. Also, that means that the skills do get a bit mixed up when you start getting into tier 8, tier 9, and tier 10, as one of your crew members will need to be trained or re-skilled. And talking about skills, let's go ahead and get into the skills I would recommend for this tank. As this tank does come with a 100% trained crew on it, personally, I would recommend probably something like Brothers in Arms or alternatively repairs for this tank. After that first skill, I would recommend Recon for the commander, off-road driving for the driver, snapshot for the gunner, situational awareness for the radio man, and lastly, I would give safe stowage to the loader. An additional side note is that the premium rounds have an outstanding 239 millimeters of penetration, making those tier 8s less of a problem to deal with this tank. Let's get into how to play this tank. This tank is very much a support or supplemental tank. This tank is good at sniping and providing that supplementary firepower to your heavies or to your light tanks that are spotting for you. This tank is not the tank to go ahead and lead the charge, as the armor is very bad on it. And its mobility is pretty standard. There's nothing that really stands out as far as mobility goes. But where this tank does excel is penetrating shots, which makes it a good sniper at range. My personal thoughts about this tank: I think this tank is a good tier 6 premium tank. I think it is a decent crew trainer up until tier 7, up until you reach the Comet in the tech tree line. I found this tank to be very enjoyable to play, as the high penetration that this tank has to offer comes in very handy and makes those long distance shots that much more capable of penetrating the tanks you're firing at. As I mentioned earlier, this tank is not a frontline brawler. This is not a tank that you'll take up with the heavies and try to brawl alongside them. This is very much a sniping tank. This is very much a support tank that you will mainly sit in the back, as the mobility is somewhat mediocre. The armor is definitely not to be relied on. It will not block very many shots. And this tank does catch fire pretty easily, as it has a 20% chance to catch fire. And the hit points on the actual engine are very low. They're 104 hit points, meaning that almost anything that fires at you tier 5 or above is basically going to light you on fire. If they manage to hit you in the engine, there's a good chance that they will go ahead and just light that engine on fire and burn you down, unless you're running a fire extinguisher or you have preventative maintenance on your crew. If you're looking for a medium tank that has pretty good penetration on it for its tier, is decently mobile unless you're going up hills, and makes good amounts of credits, XP, and is a decent crew trainer, then this is a good option for you. Like I said, the armor is not to be relied on, but the gun is where this tank excels, and that's kind of what this tank is all about mainly, is having that gun on a turret and having 10 degrees of gun depression to use at your will, meaning that it's a good hill fighter. You can pop up over hills, fire a shot back down and use your turret to the maximum effect. And with that said, guys, that's my review. That's my guide to the AC4 Experimental. I am F8 Alpha, and I will catch you guys next time.